Hi, thank you all for joining. We'll be starting the webinar at 3:35. Hello all, thank you for joining. We'll be starting the webinar at 3:35. Hello all, and thank you for joining and welcome to Navigating City and Metro Contracting Opportunities with Metro Board Member and Councilmember Krekorian. If you experience any difficulty connecting via Zoom at any time during the webinar, please contact Vivian Soto at vsoto@mwis.com. Questions will be managed via Zoom's Q&A function, and account managers available to answer in real time. Today, we have Elizabeth Juarez. Disclaimer, As the host of this meeting, Meriwether and Williams Insurance Services reserves the right to remove anyone participating or engaging in behavior that is either inappropriate or a distraction to the proceedings. Persons involved in such behavior will be immediately removed from the meeting and not allowed to rejoin. On the panel today, we have representatives from Metro's Diversity and Economic Opportunity Department, the Bureau of Contract Administration, and the Contractor Development and Bonding Program. To present Councilmember Paul Krekorian, please help me in welcoming Naveed Barkodar, VP Director of Program and Client Management at Meriwether and Williams.
Thank you very much, Mildred, and welcome to everyone. We are excited to have you today at our Navigating City and Metro Contracting Opportunities. My name is Naveed Barkodar, as Mildred mentioned. I'm the Director of Client and Program Management for Meriwether Williams and Director for the Contractor Development and Bonding programs that we administer out of our Southern California offices. And we are very excited today that you've joined us. We are privileged to have Councilmember Paul Krekorian with us, who I'll introduce in a second. On behalf of myself and our partners at 3D Networks, who work tirelessly to put on these outreach workshops, we thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. Before I introduce the council member, just very quickly, and Mildred, if you can go back to the agenda slide very quickly, just to give everyone a sense of what we hope to accomplish today in today's workshop. We want to provide you with some information on upcoming Metro contracting opportunities. As I'm sure you all know, there's a ton of opportunities out there. There's Measure M that still has billions of dollars in capital procurement opportunity outstanding. Of course, there's the 2028 Olympics and just a ton of opportunity with Metro and the regional sister agencies that participate in the program as well. And as Mildred mentioned, and we'll hear from them in a bit, we are privileged to have both Olga Lopez and Jan Davis from Metro to share some of that information with us later today. Of course, we also want to impart onto you, for those of you who are new to this sector or haven't necessarily done work with the Los Angeles Metropolitan Transportation Authority, some tidbits and some information on how to do business with LA Metro. Of course, LA Metro is a large public agency, but we hope to break down some of that for you. And last but certainly not least, we hope to impart onto you some of the resources that are available to you by virtue of the Contractor Development and Bonding program that is in part sponsored by LA Metro and administered by our firm, which we've been doing for Metro since about 2008. We've been doing it, since 2018. We've been doing it for the city since 2005. And just for those of you who are new to our programs, we've been fortunate to administer this program for Los Angeles County just as of October 2021. So a lot of synergy in terms of our resources and availability in assisting small, diverse contractors in their journey in public contracting opportunity. But first, as I mentioned earlier, we are fortunate to have the council member with us. Very briefly, for those of you who don't know the council member, which I don't suspect would be many of you, born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, Paul Krekorian has spent more than a decade in public service. Since 2010, he has served on the Los Angeles City Council, where his leadership as chair of the powerful Budget and Finance Committee helps guide the city through its challenges and toward greater economic promise. And I know he's very proud that the City Council recently adopted the city's $11.8 billion budget for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. In addition to his role as budget chair, the councilman also helms the ad hoc committee on job creation, is vice chair of the housing committee, and sits on the energy, climate, and environmental justice committee, the trade, travel, and tourism committee, and the ad hoc committee on the 2028 Olympics. In addition, the councilman serves on the boards of the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transit Authority, MetroLink, and the San Fernando Valley Council of Governments. He graduated from Reseda Cleveland High School before earning his BA in political science from USC, and a law degree from UC Berkeley. The councilman is a trailblazer and a true leader. He has been committed to supporting the regional contractor development and bonding program, which assists contractors with their contracting capacity and business growth. It is my honor today to introduce our good friend. Please welcome Councilmember and Metro Board Member Paul Krekorian.
Well, thank you very much, Naveed, for that very warm introduction. I appreciate it very much, and thank you for including me today. This is something I first want to thank Mayor Weathern-Williams, of course, for once again bringing us together with members of our business community to provide this opportunity for outreach and development and education that will create opportunities for our business community and for the people whose jobs are dependent upon those businesses' success. The one part of my history, I think that Naveed did not touch upon that's probably relevant today, is that before I ever ran for office, I represented businesses for 20 years in the private sector. And so I have a deep commitment to ensuring that we have a thriving business community here in Los Angeles. And I'm acutely aware of the challenges that so many, especially small local businesses, face with regard to government procurement and contracting opportunities, which is why I focused so much of my agenda in public life to trying to facilitate business opportunities for our local businesses. You know, I joined the council during the Great Recession, and I became budget chair shortly after that. And the city was reeling. The city was, facing horrendous budget cuts within the city. There's massive job loss across the city, sky high unemployment rate. People were losing their businesses, and we know that in the years that came after that, the city was able to emerge with revenues that came in because the business community rebounded so successfully. And with not only with investments in infrastructure locally, but otherwise, the business community here had an economic rebound that outstripped the rest of the country. And as a result, Los Angeles economy boomed after the Great Recession. We had a time where we were breaking all records for traffic through the airport, traffic through our ports, tourism. By every measure, the Los Angeles economy was absolutely booming. And then COVID hit. And so you have all suffered. I know we've all suffered through these last two very, very extraordinary and difficult years. But just like a decade ago, the city is very much dependent upon a continuing, robust economic recovery in the private sector, and encouraging more and more opportunities for our local businesses to thrive and to succeed and to grow into large businesses. And that's really so much of the city's future, and what we're able to do in delivering services to our constituents is dependent upon that. So I've focused a lot of time on trying to get more opportunities for local businesses, whether it's our local business preference program and procurement, reforms to our gross receipts tax locally, the creation of what we call our JEDI zones, which are the jobs and economic development incentive zones, which provide a variety of tools and opportunities for businesses who wish to invest in underserved areas in Los Angeles. And most recently, the creation of LA RAMP, the Regional Alliance Marketplace program for procurement. And I want to really take a moment to encourage all of you, if you haven't already registered on LA RAMP, you really should do so, because this is a step that we took to modernize procurement, to bring procurement across agencies into one place, so that you have one portal to visit, which will give you contracting opportunities across multiple agencies. And also it gives you an opportunity to create relationships between smaller businesses and prime contractors. So if you go to www.rampla.org, you can go look at that right now and sign up, and you'll have immediate access to all of the procurement opportunities that we have across multiple agencies. So we've taken a lot of steps to try to facilitate business opportunity, and yet no matter what government does, there are still some challenges that small businesses have that large businesses can more easily overcome. You're all keeping your businesses running every day. You don't have time to run down to City Hall every other day to figure out what's going on and to keep track of changes in policy and so on. You don't necessarily have the same level of bonding capacity that a larger business has. There are many ways that the big businesses have a leg up, have an advantage in the competition for procurement. So what today's seminar is all about is helping to equalize that, helping to give you the kinds of opportunities that you need to be able to compete effectively for the massive amount of procurement that's coming down the pike right now. And think about this for a minute. I mean, we've got, first of all, just within the city of Los Angeles, we're investing hundreds of millions of dollars in local infrastructure projects. With if there's even anything close to what the Biden administration is proposing for infrastructure investment that passes through Congress, you can be guaranteed that the amount of investment we'll be doing locally will grow geometrically. Metro has hundreds of billions of dollars in Measure M and Measure R projects that are ongoing, as well as the countless other projects that Metro is constantly engaged in. And our county and our school district and all of the other local agencies really are investing so much in bricks and mortars and steel in the ground that our future depends on here in Los Angeles. We need to make absolutely sure that as we make those investments and as the private sector makes similar large investments, that our local businesses are given an opportunity to get their fair share of those opportunities. We've got the Olympics coming up. We've got the World Cup coming up. Next month, we're going to host the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium. We've got a lot of big things coming. And every one of those is an opportunity to make money and create jobs in our local economy. And that's just imperative to me, because I'm personally tired of seeing Los Angeles taxpayers' money being sent out of Los Angeles to businesses in North Carolina instead of North Hollywood. And I want to make sure that you have every opportunity to get access to your fair share of that kind of income. So again, I just want to thank Meriwether and Williams and all of the departmental staff from Metro and from the city who are here participating today. I hope you'll find this an opportunity that really opens doors for you. I know that Ramp LA will open doors for you. So with the knowledge that you're gaining today, and with that procurement portal opportunity that you have that's available to you right now, this could be a real opportunity to grow, to expand, to create new vitality in our local economy, which our entire city is depending upon. So thanks everybody for being a part of this. And again, thanks to all the presenters for taking the time to do this as well.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. We really appreciate you being here with us today and sharing your words of encouragement. And more than anything else, we appreciate the staunch advocacy that you so diligently bring towards supporting programs like this and the small and diverse community. And as folks, as you heard the council member say, there's a ton of opportunities. So we really hope today's workshop will be informative. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank the council members, Senior Transportation Deputy Sag Idalian, who has been very instrumental in working alongside ourselves and our partners and at 3D Networks in facilitating today's workshop. So thank you very much again, council member and Sahag and your entire team. We really appreciate it. With that, we will, I believe, go into today's presentation. We'll start with the program, the contract development and bonding program that's being sponsored by LA Metro and the City of Los Angeles, along with, as I mentioned earlier, the County of Los Angeles. And of course, we want to share with you, as I will in just a minute, what the program is all about and how you can take advantage of the various services that are there at no cost to you. If we can go to the next slide, please, Mildred. So just very quickly, for those of you who don't know us, I do see some familiar faces on the participant panel. But again, for those who are new to this workshop and don't know ourselves, Merriweather & Williams Insurance Services, a full-service property and casualty insurance brokerage firm. Of course, we operate within the insurance industry. We do a lot by way of consulting around insurance for government construction, both to government entities and prime construction contractors. We offer specialty programs such as Sparta and Prompt Cover, which offer facility or vendor insurance for different government facilities for events that you all may be holding throughout the Los Angeles area. But what we are most known for are bonding and technical assistance programs, which of course you'll hear a lot more about today in just a few minutes, specifically for the city and metro contractor development and bonding program. Those are some of our offices. And the last point there, which I like to share with all of our participants, is that we ourselves happen to be a small woman minority owned firm as well. And I share that because the contract development, technical assistance, supportive services that we offer, we do so from a relatable mindset. So we've been there, done that, if you will. In other words, we have encountered as a small minority business some of the challenges that a small diverse business encounters when working with a large agency such as Metro or the airport or the City of Los Angeles. And so we shape our contract development services from that relatable mindset. And of course, you'll hear more about that in just a second. Next slide, please. So very quickly at the outset, high level, the program's objective or mission, if you will, is to reduce the barriers of bonding capacity, enabling greater and successful participation of small, local, minority, women, and disabled veteran-owned businesses in public contract opportunities. I think I mentioned this earlier. We've been doing this for about 25 years almost. I think we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. We started this program back in 1997, if I'm not mistaken, with the City and County of San Francisco. And throughout the years, we've come to coin what we do by way of what we call the 4 pillars of contractor development, which is shown in that image there. And we'll go through this in the next few slides, talking about each pillar and what each pillar of service represents and what we offer to you in each of those areas. Next slide, please. So very quickly, just by way of background, just to set the stage in terms of what bonding is, why it's required. And I'll start with the right of what you all view before you. Bonding is required by law on public works projects. Believe it or not, it goes back to 1894, where the federal government basically said that anytime the federal government at the time, that was only the feds, engage in public works projects, public works being defined as any type of government construction project where the funding for that project is being supplied with taxpayer dollars that you and I inject into the system. They wanted to protect those projects because, again, those are publicly funded projects. So they instituted the concept of the bond. It was more formally refined in 1935 by the Miller Act, and essentially basically said anytime we do these projects, we're going to require this bond to protect the taxpayer dollars that have invested essentially in the funding of these projects. Throughout time, since 1935, different states, local agencies and jurisdictions and municipalities have essentially refined that Miller Act, and they call them Little Miller Acts, but basically they said, we want to do the same thing. Obviously, we as the state of California, for example, or city of Los Angeles, also procure construction projects that are being funded by taxpayer dollars. We want a vehicle to ensure that this project will be delivered and guaranteed. And so they instituted the same concept, but essentially lowered that threshold. So for example, you have the city of Los Angeles or Metro, I think it's the same, which they will require bonding on construction projects anytime that contract size is $25,000 or higher. By contrast, for example, the Los Angeles Unified School District has that threshold a little bit lower. That's at $15,000 last I heard. So essentially under 15, for example, for the school district, you wouldn't have to necessarily bond, but anything above 15, the bonding requirement would kick in. And again, most of the agencies in Los Angeles are at that $25,000 mark. And what you see before you are some more parameters of what the bond does. So it ensures that the owner receives a finished product at a negotiated price. And owner is either the government agency that's awarding you the work, or if you are a subcontractor, your owner would typically be a general contractor or a prime contractor that's awarding you the subcontract. So for those of you who are subs, you may often encounter a prime contractor who has awarded you a contract will require payment of performance bonds similar to a GC who's working with an agency such as LAWA or the city of LA. It ensures that for the owner that all subcontractors and suppliers or vendors are paid. The last thing a public agency or a prime working with the public agency wants to deal with is a supplier of one of their subs saying, hey, your contractor bought $250,000 worth of painting material for me and never paid me, and now I have to file a stop notice and file a claim against the city. So this bond protects against that. It ensures that you as the city's contractor will in fact pay all your suppliers what is promised to be paid. And then finally, and sometimes most importantly for small contractors, the bond or bondability, I should say, sometimes acts as a pre-qualification instrument for the contractor's ability. In fact, some of you who may be subcontractors may have noticed if you try to pre-qualify with a large general contractor, the mega contractors, if you will, the Balfour Beatty's, Skanskas, Swinnertons of the world, who often have a pre-qualification program, they will ask for a pre-qualification or a bondability letter in their pre-qualification package. Essentially, what they're trying to do is have you go to a bonding company, a third party, and verify your capability to demonstrate whether or not you as a contractor are able to secure bonding capacity. And that will essentially give some level of comfort to the prime contractor, essentially having a bonding company go through your capability and vouch for you, if you will, up to whatever bonding capacity that company will give you. To the left is some of the additional key elements, if you will, of what a bond is. So first of all, a bond is a three-party agreement, basically, at the end of the day, the three parties being the owner, the contractor, and the bonding company that's giving the bond. And it essentially, as I mentioned earlier, the bond is guaranteeing, it's a vehicle that guarantees contract completion for the owner. First and foremost, it's important to understand that the bond protects another party. It does not protect you. This is very different than insurance. Insurance you buy to protect you in the event of liability, or let's say there was a default of some sort. The insurance policies that you purchase from an insurance company are there to protect and offer coverage for you. The bond is there to protect the owner, basically the source of that construction project in the public works market that you've contracted with. You cannot purchase it. So unlike insurance, you cannot call up an agent and say, hey, I need $1 million liability policy. What's the quote? What's the premium? Let me pay the premium and let me get the coverage. It does not work like that with bonds. You actually have to go through a formal qualification process, and a bonding company will essentially tell you if and how much bonding capacity you can qualify for. And all of that is because, unlike insurance, no losses are expected. So in the case of insurance, the insurance companies understand that there could be a potential loss, and that insurance policy is there to provide coverage in the event of the loss, which is totally not the case with the bond. The bond is there to provide a guarantee that you will in fact provide or will deliver the contract at the price and according to the plans and specifications you entered into when signing into the contract. Next slide, please. So just very quickly, these are some general services of what the program offers. First, and I will say two important elements. I think I mentioned this earlier, but all of these services are at no cost to you. So all the services the program offers are sponsored by Metro and the City of Los Angeles and the public agencies that sponsor the program. And if you may have not captured anything today, I think I saw in the chat there were some questions about this presentation and the recording. Those will be made available to you. But more importantly than all of that, if for whatever reason you didn't capture anything today, we're here to help you. We have our account managers who will be more than glad to work with you in a one-on-one capacity and basically enroll you into the program and offer all these services to you as necessary. So first and foremost, of course, being that our program is centered around bonding, one of the first things that we do is we help you obtain or increase your bonding capacity. We do a lot around contract development, capacity building, and technical assistance services. I believe in some of the slides that are upcoming, you'll see one of the things that we do is we provide you with a work plan, which is a tool that your account manager, who we have two of them with us today. We have Rosa Osorio and Elizabeth Juarez, who are both account managers with our program. They are basically your dedicated, as the bullet there says, your dedicated account manager whose sole function is to help you go from point A to point B in your journey in public works. So if you've already done public works projects and you're looking to increase the type of jobs or job sizes, they'll guide you. If you're new, they'll guide you towards what are those preliminary steps that you need to do in the first 30, 60, or 90 days. So all of those will be crafted for you in your work plan. That's a very customized tool specific to where you are today and what you need to do in both the short term and the long term. We have a contract-based financing program, which I'll touch upon also a little bit later, where we provide, this is a new component of the program where we actually provide access to capital, what we like to call real access to capital. Of course, some of you know construction contractors are some of the hardest to obtain traditional lending. So there is a program that we have now partnered with some resources to actually deliver some of that very, very needed capital. And one of the key things that we do is provide agency collateral support, which the bullet there says, for bid performance and payment bonds for qualified contractors. So oftentimes what happens is, as I mentioned earlier, you have to qualify for bonding. So a small contractor will find an agent, submit an application, and the bonding company will say, we see that you as a contractor have done some residential work, some commercial work, and we'd be willing to offer you, as a starting bond line, $250,000 worth of capacity for you to go after a public works project that requires bonding. This is just as an example. But if we will give you a $250,000 bond, we're going to need 10, 15, sometimes 20% of that as collateral, because this is your first project or because your financials are not entirely strong enough to make us fully comfortable in giving you this bond line. And what this program does is actually provide that collateral for you. So let's just put this in the context of an example. And I'll put this in the following example. Let's say you've gone to the market as a contractor, you've secured $250,000 worth of bonding capacity and are now looking to do a $500,000 job, or your estimate has come out to $500,000 for this job that you can deliver on, but obviously your bonding is capped at $250,000. So what we will do on your behalf is we won't interrupt the relationship you have with your existing broker and bonding company. If you don't have one, obviously we'll be more than glad to recommend you to one that works with the program. But again, going back to the example, we'll work with your bonding company to say, okay, we understand that they only have 250 right now and are looking to do this $500,000 job. What if we were to give you 20% of that, or $100,000 as collateral? Would that induce you to give that $500,000 bond to that contractor? In many instances, I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 times, the answer to that question is yes. Obviously, all factors considered, but and this happens all the time. This is not something new. This is bonding companies often will tell contractors, hey, if you give up some of your capital as collateral, some of any liquid assets you may have or real estate, if you deploy that as collateral to the bonding company, they'll give a bond line commensurate with what the contractor is requesting. Obviously, for smaller contractors, they may not have access to $100,000 in the bank to be able to essentially cut out a check and deposit with the bonding company. So this program will actually pledge that $100,000 on your behalf to your bonding company to essentially take you from that $250,000 to $500,000. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, all of this at no cost to you. So this is a prime example of how these agencies, the City of Los Angeles and Metro in particular, are delivering tangible financial solutions in terms of helping smaller contractors actually secure bonding that's required to work on these public agency projects. So that's one key element of what we do on a daily basis. Another thing that we do is we offer an accounting cost subsidy. So oftentimes, and for those of you who are more experienced contractors, you may have encountered this situation. A bonding company will essentially be willing to accept what are known as in-house prepared statements. So most smaller contractors, let's say they're using QuickBooks or some other type of in-house proprietary bookkeeping software, they'll accept financial statements from that software. But generally speaking, when your revenue starts hitting about $1 million, or most importantly, when you're trying to seek $1 million bond line or higher, a bonding company will say, you're now at a point where we can no longer accept your in-house prepared statements. We're going to require CPA prepared financial statements. And for those of you who have gone to a CPA, specifically to a CPA in the construction industry, you may have noticed that they charge a pretty penny, if you will. They charge quite a bit to prepare financial statements for construction contractors. So one of the things that this program does to help alleviate or offset some of that cost is we will provide a one-time cost subsidy of up to $3,200 to help you obtain those CPA prepared financial statements. And it's a very big support, especially for those contractors that are at that stage and in need of those financial statements from a CPA to help them get to that next level of bonding. And of course, our last bullet that talks about our weekly bid opportunities, project and event email alerts. So once you enroll into our program, and for those of you who are not currently enrolled, we certainly encourage you to do so after this workshop. We'll obviously connect with you with our one-page enrollment application to fill out and submit back to us. But once you do that, you will be in our database. And every week, typically Wednesday afternoons at around 2 p.m., we send out a weekly alert where we have all of the different opportunities, whether it's job opportunities, networking events, pre-bid opportunities, subcontracting opportunities from prime contractors, training events, all in one neatly composed email that you can browse and essentially have that at your fingertips to know about what's going on relevant to your area of work. Next slide, please. So I won't go into too much detail on this. This is that contract financing assistance program that I mentioned earlier, or what we call as CFAP. This is a new program. We've been able to successfully partner with 2 separate community development financial institutions, CDFIs, who have essentially been willing to work with us in terms of delivering what we call real access to capital. So many small contractors often get denied when they go to a bank and want to secure a line of credit. And what we all know to be the case is, especially in the case of public works, it often takes time, sometimes beyond 60 or 90 days or even beyond that, to get paid on a public works project. So There is upfront costs that you as a contractor have to pay out, whether it's mobilization, payroll expenditures, supplies, all that initial cost, and then it will take time before you get paid. So what we've been able to do is craft this program where essentially we are working with these community development financial institutions to say, hey, let's look at this in a different lens. And essentially what we're saying is this contractor has secured a contract. So we know that there is funding coming in or will eventually come in once work is being performed. We understand that this contractor right now may not have the credit score or the financial statement to be able to, or the financial strength, I should say, to be able to secure a $250,000 line. But what if we were to use that contract that this contractor has been awarded as the collateral to secure that line of credit? And we've been able to successfully do this. I think we've done 15 or so loans in the last year and a half. We have one in Los Angeles where the cap on this program is actually 250, but it's on a case-by-case basis. We can increase it. We did one for a contractor where we were able to secure a $500,000 line of credit. So it's basically, as you see the third bullet there, it's using the contract or the accounts receivable, those proceeds that will be coming from that contract as the collateral. And this is being delivered at a very, very fair market rate. I believe the rate is 6.25. It says there in one of the bullets there, 6.25 interest plus 1% origination fee. One of the loans I know we were able to reduce a contractor's Amex line that was 26 or 27% between the interest and all the penalties that they were paying to 6%. So a very effective tool in being able to deliver much needed capital. There's a lot that comes with this. There's a lot of training. We have experts on our team that help you put cash flow projections because those are going to be required. It teaches contractors a lot about how to cash flow their project appropriately, how to project their cash flows. And one of the neat things it does is it helps boost your credit score because there's actually UCC filings that get filed with the credit bureau agencies on this. And because the proceeds get paid, one of the things I failed to mention is one of the key aspects of this is what's called as third-party funds administration. So anytime contract proceeds come in, they're actually going to a third-party funds administrator who will pay the lender. So the lender is guaranteed that they will be paid, which is one of the reasons why they're comfortable and induced in terms of providing this line of credit. And so that automatic payment to the lender makes your credit score go up because it demonstrates timely payments, which of course, as you know, impacts your credit score quite dramatically. So a very effective tool. Of course, there's a lot more with this that I don't want to go into too much detail today, but again, if it piques your interest and if you have a contract in your possession with Metro, either in a prime or subcontract capacity or the city of LA, we'd be more than glad to speak with you to see how you can take advantage of this program, this financing program. Next slide, please. So these are some more of the services that we deliver. I mentioned the assessment and work plan. So we initially work to, once we enroll you into the program, we assess your capacity, and we do so from a similar lens as a bonding company, which basically falls along the lines of what are known as credit, character, and capacity. We want to see where you're standing in terms of what your financial strength is, what your capacity is to perform, what type of experience you have. And then we build the work plan, right? The account manager will work with you to design that work plan, which I've seen can be anywhere as short as 3 or 4 pages for a more experienced contractor to as many as 20 pages. And this is intended to be a working tool of recommendations that your account manager is providing to you. So you'll revisit this as necessary and work with them to essentially check off all the boxes. And like I said, take your business from point A to B to C and so on and so forth. Another thing we do is contractor profile. So we recognize that a lot of the smaller businesses that come to us don't have much by way of marketing and promoting their business. So one of the things that we do is we create what's known as a contractor profile, which is the equivalent of a capability statement, but geared towards the public works marketplace. And this is a tool that we encourage you to use not only in public works, but if you're still doing residential or commercial project, you're more than welcome to obviously share that, and we encourage you to share that with your potential clients and owners. And it's a neat tool. It's a one-pager back and front that basically highlights your services, your certifications, which is key in the public works arena, bonding capacity, if you have any, what that limit is, your NAICS codes, and again, key areas relevant to your business. So basically a little bit more than just a business card, which oftentimes if you're at a Meet the Primes event, which I know there's one coming up and I'm sure Metro will touch upon later on, but basically a very neat and effective tool that you can leave with a potential client at any one of these events or in any meeting you may have with the client, and they'll have something more than just a business card to know exactly what it is that you do. Certifications, I mentioned that, so we help you not only obtain certifications, but as some of you know, certifications can be, quite complex or quite challenging because there's just so many of them. So we tell you, you need to get this certification first, not get this one. So we kind of demystify the certification puzzle for you and tell you which one is important for you to get first, second, third, and so on. And then obviously help you with the portals and where you should go. And all of that is in the context of the work plan or a phone call away to your account manager. Bid document review is something that we do. So we not only help you get the bonding, but when you're ready to bid on a job, we have experts on our team. And I believe Robert is with us today, maybe sharing some of his words of wisdom with us later. But he has a wealth of knowledge in the construction on the field and will offer his expertise in terms of helping you identify any pitfalls within a potential bid solicitation. So we help you look out for stuff before you even submit your bid. So obviously help you with your bonding, but before you bid, make sure you've captured everything with that bid. That goes hand in hand with contract completion support, right? So once we provide collateral, or if we provide collateral for you, we want to make sure that you are successful on that project. So we will actually deploy resources to come visit the field and do routine status inquiries with you and check in with you to make sure that you are progressing satisfactory on the job, meeting each of the milestones and being in line with the schedule of values, and basically ensuring that you are completing the project on time and on budget. Of course, there's a lot by way of workshops and coaching. We offer construction training academies. When we first started doing these, and these are basically 6 or 7 weeks immersion trainings, what we like to call, where we basically sit down or have chief estimators and decision makers of the large prime contractors come in and teach a class on how to effectively bid and estimate. And we do these every week for about 6 or 7 weeks, 2 to 3 hours a week on a particular day, afternoon, or evening. And these are very effective and hands-on. You can see some of the images there. I'm not sure if they're visible or not, but these prime contractors will actually fire up their software and essentially in a very hands-on oriented environment, teach you how to effectively bid, submit, schedule, and basically teaching you skills that they've learned, that their business has acquired over 100 plus years, perhaps in many cases, of doing this type of work. And it allows you to forge relationships with key decision makers at these prime agencies. This has it took off extremely. When we first started doing this, we did 1 or 2 a year. We are now up to 5 or 6. So pretty much at any given week throughout the 52-week calendar year, we are doing some sort of an academy. I believe right now, this week was week 4 of a Metro Bidding and Estimate Academy that we're doing. And pretty soon we'll be starting one specific to the County of LA. So a lot of opportunity if you're interested in that to join. And of course, that last bullet talks about our Prime Partnership Program, where not only do we partner with these large contractors to send their representatives to these academies, but many times these large contractors who get these big projects have to meet goals, as I'm sure all of you know. And they know that our program has a database filled with qualified, bondable, and certified contractors. And they'll often say, hey, I just got this huge project. I need qualified bondable contractors that are certified as WBE, DBE, or MBE and can bond up to $750,000 and are licensed in C10 and C7. We filter our database for those parameters. We give that referral list to that prime contractor, and many times we know that one of the contractors that we refer over to these primes are selected for an actual contract opportunity. So another effective tool that we deploy to help contractors not only get bonding, not only work through a job, but actually get jobs, which is a key tool that we offer as well. Next slide, please. Okay, great. I think we are at the point, and I see Mildred is here, so I'm going to turn this over to Mildred to introduce some of our more favorite people with Metro. Mildred, take it away, please.
Thank you, Naveed. We are honored to have one of our sponsors on the panel. Olga and Jan Davis represent Metro's gold standard for innovative small business outreach through high touch and small business needs focus on behalf of Metro's Diversity and Economic Opportunity Department. They demystify Metro culture and contract language, and they develop unique outreach for niche needs for Metro program management. Please help me in welcoming Olga Lopez and Jan Davis.
Good afternoon.
So happy to be here.
Yes, yes.
So happy to have you too. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. It really is our pleasure to be here. And that was such a great introduction. And we want to thank you, Naveed and Anne, Robert, Lakeisha, everyone on the team with Meriwether Williams. It's always a pleasure to be here with you all. And thank you for the opportunity. It was great to have the honorable council member also speak about the opportunities that we have with our agency. And we are delighted to share with you all in this forum that we, Metro DEOD Outreach, is also going to be connecting and be a part of the RAMP program. So stay tuned, guys. We're definitely going to be sharing our solicitations in the RAMP system. We are in the process still working with the city of LA to get the appropriate training, but all of our information is going to be shared with the larger community. Jan?
Yeah, absolutely, Olga. Good point. And hi, everyone. Thank you. And we're so happy to be here, just like Olga said. And I just want to tailgate on what Olga was mentioning about RAMP. And we really are excited about the opportunity to announce Metro solicitations and contracts and events, because the more we can get this word out to our small businesses, the better off they will be. Because, at Metro, we like to say that our success is your success, or your success is our success, rather. So the more opportunities we have to announce and to engage our small business constituency, the better we like it. Because, we want you to win. We want you to be a part of every possible opportunity that we have. So, we'll talk more about that, and I'll go ahead and get this PowerPoint started. And I believe my colleague is going to be presenting first. Olga?
Yes, thank you. Next slide, please. We definitely want to welcome, and we thank you for the opportunity to talk about the small business participation with our agency. As Jan mentioned, there is a lot of opportunities. There is a lot of projects that have to be built, and we are just nonstop. And so we want to make sure that we share with you what that information is all about. But first, let me begin by saying, let me describe who we are within Metro, because Metro is a large agency. And so Jan and I are representing Metro's Diversity and Economic Opportunity Department. we're a unit of vendor contract management, and we are responsible for all of Metro Small Business Program, which includes Metro Connect. As you can see, Metro Connect is the emblem, is our look that we represent in terms of the opportunities. Under our Metro Connect, we are committed to the growth and the success of your small business. We aim to increase the opportunities for you, and this is through various efforts. We want to make sure that we provide greater access and transparency around the agency's procurement process. Next slide, please. We are who you can consider your friends on the inside. We are the advocates. We serve as your system navigators, but most importantly as well, we have a big responsibility, and that is to administer and oversee the small business program initiatives. We publicize the contract opportunities. We provide training and resources. We set goals on our contracts. If you're a DBE, an SBE, DVBE, we set goals so that you can have access to the opportunities, and we also have the responsibility of monitoring compliance. Next slide. And with that, I'm going to move into our certification. If you're not a certified vendor just yet, we encourage you to begin the process. With you may be wondering, why is it important to get certified? Well, small business certifications work very similar as a professional certification. It documents a special capability or a status that is going to help you compete in the marketplace. It's going to increase your visibility to the prime contractors. I don't know if you knew, but prime contractors are required to meet SBE or DBE utilization goals. As a certified firm, you are critical to the prime contractor towards successfully meeting these goals. It also provides levels. It also levels the playing field by providing small businesses that are small business owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals a fair opportunity to compete for federally or non-federally funded transportation contracts. Next slide, please. At Metro, there's two types of certifications that we accept. The first one, it's the DBE, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. This program requires that the applicant be socially and economically disadvantaged as it is outlined in CFR 49, Part 26. Metro is a member of the California Unified Certification Program, and we accept DBEs that are certified by other member agencies. The other certification that we accept is the SBE, the Small Business Enterprise. This SBE program is unique to Metro, and it mirrors the requirements that are under the DBE program. The difference is it's a race and gender neutral. Now, we also recognize the DBBEs, the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise. We accept this certification. The certification is provided by the Department of General Services, DGS. Next slide, please. The requirements. Remember, I mentioned earlier that they mirror each other. And so for both, actually, when you begin your certification process, and I'm going to share in a little bit where you can begin your application, you can select for a DBE and SBE certification. And if you forget, but within our certification unit, if they see that you qualify for both, you will be awarded both certifications. So the requirements are that the small business must be an independent business organized for profit. The personal net worth has to be less than 1.32 million. The annual gross receipts for a 5-year average must be less than 26.29 million. The qualifying individual is in control of management and the daily business operations, and it has to be 51% ownership by one or more economically disadvantaged individuals. Next slide, please. The additional requirements for a DBE, as I mentioned, must be socially disadvantaged, and the socially and economically disadvantaged individual means that any individual who's a citizen of the US or is lawfully admitted permanent resident who is a member of the following groups: African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, subcontinent Asian Americans, and women. Next slide. The application can be done online. B2G online certification application is what this slide speaks to. We were the first agency who went online with the certification process. So when you go on Metro B2G online, we are one of the agencies that implemented the online certification and management system. This application is designed to streamline the process so that the applicants can eliminate the need for hard copy submissions. I remember those days when small businesses were going through their certification process and they would come in with boxes of documents to support the certification application they were submitting. On this online certification, what is the features that are important? It's a user-friendly platform. It offers tracking tools to check on the status of your application. It offers free webinars for trainings to walk you through the process. And it offers a 24-hour technical support. The other neat thing that we understand this system offers, let's say you get to page 3, and then there's a document that it's asking you to upload and you need some time. You can pause, save your page on page 3, search for your document, come back, and it will pick up where you left off. And it is not going to let you move forward to the next page because it's going to let you know if there's any documents that you're missing. Next slide, please. And here is where you can access the online application. It's metro.gov2g.com. If you have additional questions about the certification process, you can send an email to our colleagues in the certification unit at metro.net, or you can call them at the phone number that is included in this PowerPoint. And most importantly, make sure you have an opportunity to visit Metro's vendor portal at metro.net/connect. There, not only are you going to find the information about certification, small businesses, but we also include our calendar of events. Navid mentioned earlier about a Meet the Primes event that we have coming up later this month. And we strongly encourage you to join us if you're available. We are, we're not the leads on this event that is happening on June 21st. But it's Caltrans who's hosting a Meet the Primes DBE Summit. During this summit, Metro is going to be there supporting the city of Inglewood with the Inglewood Transit Corridor project. They have the firms who are going to be bidding on that project are going to be in attendance. So we strongly encourage you to join us June 21st at SoFi Stadium. It's going to be an awesome event. You're not only going to have an opportunity to meet primes from the Inglewood Transit Corridor, but major primes who are working not only on Caltrans, but on Metro projects. So we look forward to seeing you there. And if we do see you there, you make sure you wave at the Metro team who's going to be there. Right, Jan? And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jan.
That's right. Make sure you wave at us. Come by and say hello. We're always glad to see you.
Yes.
So, Jan Davison, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our small business enterprise program. So next slide, please. So in our small business programs, there are three things that I want you to know, three things I want you to walk away with. Okay. We're going to talk about our small business set aside, our medium size program, which now we have done some updates. So we have medium size 1 and 2, and then our contracting, outreach, and mentoring plan. Okay, so we want to level the playing field. We want to make everything that we can possible available to you so that you can pursue these contracts. You heard the Councilman Krekorian talk about the Measure M dollars and all of the dollars that are coming down federally to Metro to help build our rail, our transportation system and infrastructure. And we want you to get in on that. So first, next slide, please. We're going to talk about our small business program. So I know this is going to be a lot for you to digest. And we want to invite you to come back and hear more as you need to, but we're going to try to make it as simple as possible here. So our small business program, just to give you a little background, it was cited as best practice by the Millikan Institute. And this is a groundbreaking program that allows small businesses to compete as primes. So the SBEs who are invited into this sector of our RFPs and our IFBs, they are only competing against other small business firms that are, like themselves, that are like in kind, right? And the project threshold criteria is from 3,000 to 5 million. And this is both on federal and non-federally funded contracts. So as you see here, we've kind of flipped the business model. Now you as a small business firm can enter into a contract as a large prime. And as long as you are doing 30% of the work, then you can contract out to a large prime for the remaining 70%, okay? And so the impact here, and I know that this number needs to be updated, and I know that Olga can vouch for me with that. And we're gonna get that slide updated, and maybe the next time we're with you, you'll see the impact. But for now, the impact that it's made for for awards is 188 million. So that is not a bad start, right? Next slide. Thank you very much. So a little bit about our medium-sized enterprise. So this was the heart of our former CEO, and our current CEO is behind it 100%. So this medium-sized enterprise forum will allow, it kind of bridges the gap, as the slide says, between small businesses and large business. So what we were finding is that small businesses were kind of growing out of the ability to compete for small business enterprise contracts. So, and that's a good thing, but we also didn't want to kind of send them out. We wanted to keep them with us so they can continue to bid on Metro contracts. So our medium-sized business enterprise was developed. And so now this applies to, again, federally funded RFPs that are competitively negotiated procurements for supplies, for equipment, materials, services, everything. Listen, you guys, Metro doesn't build anything. We have things built for us. But Metro, while we're building our rail and our transportation systems and our alignments and buses and all of that, we are still an operating entity. So we need rolling stock. We need light bulbs. We need someone to come in and care for our fountains. We need someone to come in and fix our elevators and keep and maintain, the building as a whole, where our headquarters where our headquarters is located. We need someone to come in and maintain our rail stations and our bus divisions, So there's a lot of opportunity. And then of course we have our professional services contracts as well, which many of you I'm sure are familiar with. So the medium size firm, and let me just give you kind of a little overview. It is a firm, it's described as a firm that is not a subsidiary of another firm, and you must have 25 million to 250 million max gross annual receipts over a 3-year average, and you must not exceed 250 employees. So this works a little bit different. So what will happen is Metro will invite a firm or firms of any size to bid and propose under MSC. If we get at least 2 responses, okay, it could be more, but if we get at least two, it's gonna trigger a set aside. Okay, so then that means, well, it's only gonna go for medium-sized businesses, okay? So you'll be competing against each other. If it's less than 2 responses, then we have to send it back out to the streets, and then anyone can bid on that. So next slide, please. So here's a diagram that's going to tell you and give you more information. I know that this PowerPoint is going to be available to you, so take the time to look at it, study it. As you see, we have split the medium-sized program into 2 parts. Okay, so it goes from 5,000 up to 14,99999, right? And then for medium-sized 2, it starts at 15 and goes all the way up to 30. So, that is to, we want to cover all bases for that, right? So take a little bit of time and go through this slide deck. I'm not going to do much on it, but I just want you to know that it's there for you. If you have any questions, you can always call us, and we actually are going to point you to our medium-sized business program guru, who is Jerry Jacobson, and he'll be able to kind of break it all down for you, okay? So this is what we have available under medium-size and our SB Prime, okay? Because we really want you to win. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here's another slide that talks about the definition. It goes into a little bit more detail. I'm not sure how we are for time, but I just want you to know that it's there. I've gone over the basics, but if you want to know more, you can take a look at that. Visit that website that's there under the North American Industry Classification System, and it's going to give you, some of the standards that are set forth by the federal government. Just go into more details about that. And these changes were effective September 1st of 2021. So, and we've been announcing it, but they have gone into play. And I don't think we have any numbers yet on medium-sized business awards, but I'm sure that that's coming up. Next slide, please. Okay, and here's one of my favorite things that we do for small businesses, and this is our contracting outreach and mentoring plan, so COMP, right? So when Metro issues RFPs and IFBs that are exceeding 25 million, anyone who is bidding on those contracts, they're required to submit a comp plan. Okay, and so as you see here, I don't want to miss this, architecture, engineering, A&E is exempt from this. And don't ask me why, because I don't know. Maybe I should find out, but I don't know. But anyway, so the objective here is to measurably grow the capacity of DBEs, SBEs, DVBE firms, okay? When I tell you that Metro is really in the business of making small businesses succeed, I mean that, and this is one of the ways. So when someone bids on a contract that's more than 25 million, they have to tell us the outreach events that they're going to host for our DBEs and our SBEs and our DVBEs prior to submitting the proposal. So they have to already have this in play. Okay, they have to provide innovative and measurable plans and evaluation criteria for how they are going to bring those businesses in and how they are going to develop them. So this is part of the criteria for them to even be considered responsive to the bid, okay? They must provide a detailed technical assistance strategy to us. They must identify at least one mentor and one protege. And they must specify the subcontracting approach, and that will include the processes and the procedures of how they're going to invite these firms in. So all of that has to be in place in order for them to be responsive to a bid. So one of the things that's exciting to me about this is that Metro actually monitors this. They just don't take it, by word or even by paper that this is happening. Metro will go and they will ask, hey, look, show me, where are they? What are they doing? What do you have? Who's on your team? How are you going to use them? How are they worked into the plan? So I really love this because this is just another way to get it done, right? Because your success is our success. And all of what we do is for you, especially in outreach. Our job is to communicate the opportunities to you. And I hope we're doing a good job today. So next slide, please. All right, so that wraps up all of the technical stuff. So I want to tell you, you've heard my colleague talk about this, metro.net/connect. Come on and say it with me, metro.net/connect. Can't tell you enough about that. That is our vendor portal. That is where we encourage you to go in. Here you see our calendar of events. News and events will be posted there. Any upcoming event that we have, any type of news that we have about an RFP or an IFB. As a matter of fact, there's some information that's going up on the vendor portal about our, I believe it's the I-105 expressway. And there's some important documentation that's going to be posted there by June 10th. For those of you that would be interested in knowing what that's about and what the opportunities are there before the industry forum happens and before the outreach event happens. So that information will be posted there. You heard my colleague talk about the Inglewood Transit Corridor that is happening on the 21st of June. That information is there. There are a number of events. Remember when we were talking about how Metro is an entity, we don't build, but we do have an operating headquarters, of course. And there are a number of facilities contracted maintenance events and RFPs that are coming out, such as glass repair, graffiti abatement, oh my gosh, so many different things. I wish I could name them all for you. And they are coming up. These events are coming up in June. So we need you to be certified. We need you to be a registered vendor with Metro so that if you are available to respond to any of these RFPs or IFBs, then hey, you can come in and take advantage of it. So again, metro.net/connect, calendar of events, events and news, and also that our How to Do Business with Metro workshop is going to be in there. We call that our evergreen workshop. So I see another face, and that means we are done. Literally, we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan and Olga, for the comprehensive explanation on Metro's opportunities and services for small businesses.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. And now we have a poll question for the audience. Would you like to enroll in the program in order to receive free technical assistance and resources? I'll give the audience 30 seconds to respond. Thank you all for participating. And now we have Robert Lowry. He's Field Support Project Manager for Meriwether and Williams Insurance Services. Robert?
Robert wasn't able to be here with us today, so I will be sitting in on his behalf. Next slide, please. My name is Lakeisha Bearden. I am the Program Development Manager here for the Regional Contractor Development and Bonding Program. So good evening, everyone. You heard a lot of information. You're probably wondering, wow, they offer all of that? Yes, we do, and more. So I'm going to go over a little bit about what our field support project manager really is involved in with our program. So we attend pre-bids. Naveed talked about our account managers and having our account managers present at pre-bids. We attend pre-bids as well as job walks. We think it's very important for our team to understand exactly what types of procurement is being put out so that we can assist our contractors bid on all of these opportunities that was discussed today. Our contract review. We review if you contact us and let us know you're interested in bidding on a particular project, we will review that contract with you. Now, we're not going to provide you with the numbers, but we are there to be an extra set of eyes to support you as you're bidding on these projects. We have been working with the city for a very long time, so we have a great depth of knowledge in the type of requirements that are in their solicitations, and the same for Metro. So if you're interested in bidding on any type of project, please contact us. We understand that as small business, you don't necessarily have the back office support that you need to support you through the bidding process. Again, we're reviewing the plans and the specifications, and then also just really helping you understand what risk may be involved, asking you probing questions so that you have a better understanding of the scope of work and your involvement in that scope and how that plays out into cost associated with the project. And then we do a final bid review, where after you've done your due diligence, you went through the bid, you collected all the required documentation by the particular agency, then we will review the bid with you. Again, we're not going to provide you with the cost, but we may ask you, have you included enough in your general conditions? Have you included enough in your pricing for maybe it's after hours? So really understanding what your scope of work and just having that extra person that is rooting you on and providing you with some best practices and lessons learned about what to look out for when bidding on agency projects. And then we do expect for you as a business to follow up with the prime and or the agency and ask if the bid, if you didn't receive the bid award, what could you do differently? And then we can also help you understand that as well. Next slide. So this is the exciting part. What if you do get the bid? What if you do? So we will help you with putting together a job start checklist. That really is to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, that you know who's on first, who's on second. Have you understood the pay-apps? Do you understand exactly what's required? Have all the documentation been submitted? Really understanding what your next steps are. If your particular project does require collateral support, there is another layer of added protection that we do for you as well as the agency. The agency is really backing you. They believe in small businesses. They want small businesses to bid on their project, but they also know that small businesses have a lot of hurdles to jump. And so because of that, collateral support, Naveed talked a lot about the collateral support piece that the program offers. Well, in addition to that, we want to make sure that everything is going well, smoothly in the field. Have you been able to contact the project manager on site? So we do work with you and the contract manager or the agency, and we require check-ins. And those check-ins are your contract and principal status reports. These are monthly reports that you and or the prime contractor and or the agency must fill out so that we can have an understanding exactly what's going on with the project. We do look at both of these documents to make sure that they're in alignment. So if we see anything that may not be in alignment, we're going to contact you and see, okay, well, the agency is saying this, the prime is saying this, but you're saying that. It might be a good time to jump on the phone and have a meeting to understand where the discrepancies are. The same with the billing and construction schedule. We're really there to be that extra layer of support for you because we want you to complete the project successfully. We'll also conduct site visits and reports. So these site visits are done, again, to protect you and the agency sponsor, as well as the prime, to make sure that you have a layer of protection and support and guidance, and to mitigate any risk, or to speak with the prime about, or the inspector about anything that may not necessarily be in alignment with the scope of the work. Change order logs will help you with change order logs, will help you understand exactly what type of documentation you need to support the change order and request for a change order. We know that this can kind of bite small businesses in the rear end. So we want to make sure that we provide you with the proper documentation of how to really account for change orders and request for change orders. And then project closeout. Project closeout is another layer of a lot of information that needs to be submitted in order to properly close out the project. And again, we want to make sure that you can bid on other projects with the city. We want to make sure that your relationship with the city, your relationship with Metro, your relationship with the prime is intact and strong. And so therefore we want to complete your project successfully all the way from the beginning to the end. So that's just a little bit, a quick abridged version of the type of field support services that we provide to our enrolled contractors. And we really encourage you to enroll in the program if you haven't already done so. If some of this information that I'm speaking about is new to you, then that means you really need to get in contact with your account manager so that they can go over in more detail about the layer of support and guidance that we offer to our small businesses, not just with bonding, not just with assessments and work plans, but actually in the field and helping you identify project opportunities. Next slide. So again, if there's any information, any additional information that you need from us, please, you'll see our contact information here, our email address, and our telephone number. Directly, if you already know who your account manager is, just say, hey, check in with them to make sure that you haven't missed anything and there's any other support that they can offer you.
Thank you, Lakeisha, for stepping in. That was a great presentation. And now for representing the City of Los Angeles, or the Bureau of Contract Administration, a department in the City of Los Angeles, is Esther Park. She is a certification specialist at the Bureau of Contract Administration of the Department of Public Works of the City of Los Angeles. Please help me in welcoming Esther Park. Esther?
Sorry, I was on mute, but thank you, Mildred. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Esther Park. I am the certification analyst at the Bureau of Contract Administration at the City of LA. And before I dive into certifications, next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide, please. Yes. Before I dive into certifications, if you're a contractor and you want to participate on city projects, the first thing you want to do is to register on rampla.org, shown on the slide, to create a RAMP profile. And let me tell you why. RAMP, which replaced LA Bavin, is a free service and source where you can access all contracting opportunities offered by the City of LA, or find up-to-date certified subcontractors to complement your project bid. At RAMP, your company information, including your certifications, are available to all city departments and prime contractors looking for partners like you on city projects. Now I would like to introduce you to the 11 certifications available with the city. Please note you can apply for the certifications by either submitting a paper application or applying through your account on RAMP, which I will elaborate on later. Next slide, please. First are the ownership-based certifications. The biggest programs are the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise DBE certification and the Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise ACDE. These are federally mandated certifications for projects with federal funding. The main criteria for these is that the owner must be a minority who belongs to a presumptive group shown at the right corner of the slide, or a woman owner and must prove their ownership and control of the business and is subject to limits in the owner's personal net worth and average gross income of the business. The next following two are the minority business enterprise and the women business enterprise certifications, which are grandfathered and follow the federal guidelines for ownership and control criteria without the limits for personal net worth and gross income. The disabled veteran business certification must have an active disabled veteran certification from a recognized veterans agency and must be headquartered in LA County. Next slide, please. Second, the location-based program. The location-based program certifications, namely the local business enterprise, the local small business, and the local transitional employer, are for businesses headquartered in LA County. The local small business was formerly the small local business certification, while local transitional employer replaced the previous transitional job opportunities program certification. These three programs use a single application form available from your account in RAMP. Next slide, please. And last but not least, our third program is giving recognitions on already acquired certifications. One is for LGBT certification. A firm can request for recognition of a business's active LGBT certification only if it is already certified from the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. Next slide, please. Others are the small business enterprise and the disabled veteran business enterprise certifications, which require the business to be first certified with the California Department of General Services. You can apply from the link shown on the slide or shared in the chat box. Next slide, please. This slide shows how and where you can apply for each certification. The programs that use paper applications is the MBE, WBE, and SB proprietary programs. MBE and WBE both have the additional requirement of notarization. For SB proprietary certification used by DWP, the World Airport or LAWA, and POLA or the Harbor Department is another recognition-based certification from agencies listed on the front of the application form. Without an active certification from one of these recognized agencies, the business has to submit a paper application. And there's the mailing address where you could submit the documents to. Moving on to the online application on the right. Firms located in LA County can apply for DBE, ACDBE through the links shown in the chart. The SBE proprietary program is open to all independent US-based for-profit firms. For all others, apply at californiaucp.dbesystem.com, and they will be processed by the applicable California Unified Certifications Program agency that has jurisdiction. If the firm has a profile on RAMP, they can apply for LBE Los Angeles, LSB, LTE, DVBE, LAWA, and LBE Harbor through the certification page on rampla.org. Next slide, please. So for more information, we encourage you to visit our website at bca.lacity.org/certification or email questions to bca.certifications@lacity.org. As it takes time to review the applications with our currently limited number of staff members, we highly encourage applying for the right certification after doing your due diligence or reaching out to helpful resources like Merriweather and Williams, and in finding out which certification you need for the bid requirements and for the one you are eligible for sooner than later. Thank you so much for your time and interest in our programs.
Thank you so much, Esther. And now for closing remarks, please welcome back Naveed Barkhodar.
Thank you very much, Mildred. And thank you again to everyone for participating today. On behalf of the entire program, the Merriweather and Williams Insurance Services team, and the motto with 3D Networks and Mildred, we want to extend a very, very big thank you to all of the panelists and the speakers from the various departments, to Jan Davis, Olga Lopez, and Esther Park, who all of which shared a wealth of information with each of their departments on how to do business, information on certification, and just a wealth of information within each of their own respective agencies. And of course, on behalf of all of us, we want to extend a very big thank you to Council Member and Metro Board Member Paul Krekorian for his participation in today's program and for his advocacy of supporting programs like this that bring a wealth of support and guidance and tools and resources for the small and diverse contracting community. As you heard today, there's just a ton of opportunities out there. There's a wealth of resources. Of course, as was mentioned throughout the program today, if you are currently not enrolled into the program, we highly encourage you to do so if you're interested in applying. And you will be receiving an email fairly shortly with a copy of today's presentation along with our enrollment form. And of course, you saw our information shared in the slides earlier. So by all means, please feel free to reach out to us if anything piqued your interest. I believe there is a slide about an upcoming event, if I'm not mistaken, Mildred. Is that the next slide? Yes. So we have another event coming up on Wednesday, June 22nd from 3 to 5 p.m. I believe we will be sharing this flyer as well in the email that we'll be going out after this event. In fact, I think Vivian from our team may have just shared the link for this event in the chat. So by all means, feel free to register for this event. We'll talk, this event will be focused specifically on the program. So we'll go in more detail on some of the services, some of the contract financing services that I briefly touched upon earlier today. Of course, the broad services that we offer under the program. And I believe you'll be hearing from a panel of contractors who have participated in this program. We often like to do that because it often resonates a lot more to hear from your own peers how another contractor participated in the program and was able to take advantage of the program to help grow their business. So you'll be hearing, I believe, from a panel of contractors that have taken advantage of different services from the program. But I believe we are a little bit over time, so I'm going to basically adjourn this presentation. I again want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this workshop. And we want to thank our panelists again and our outreach partners. Thank you very much, Mildred and Anne, for all of your tireless efforts in putting this event together. Again, thank you all for participating in today's event. We wish you the best of luck on all your future endeavors. And again, please feel free to reach out to us if we can be of any assistance. Thank you so much. And with that, we wish you all a safe and pleasant evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.